Hi guys, I hope you're having a wonderful day today. In this video, I'm going to be doing a twin flame energy check-in reading. There are 3 groups to choose from. Group 1 is the candle quartz. Group 2 is the smoky quartz. And group 3 is the amethyst. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing, and feel whichever group, maybe multiple groups or perhaps all of the groups that you're most drawn to, I'll give you a minute to make your selection and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps in the description box of the video for each group if you'd like to jump ahead. And up next is a close-up photo of the crystals to help you better make your selection. Hi, Group 1. You chose the candle quartz. So let's start by taking a look at what are your twin flames' thoughts and feelings about you and the connection right now. Okay, we have threshold, intention, Artemis, untamed, and Zichel, weaving. So with these energies, I'm hearing I really messed up. So it feels like your twin flame is sifting back through maybe old text messages, old emails, or just replaying in their mind previous conversations with you, times where they had either, it's almost like they're feeling that they may have stopped themselves from elaborating on their feelings because it's like, I don't want to say too much. I don't want to be too emotional. This person may be somebody who mistrusts their own emotions, and so they are kind of conditioned to, or out of fear, they lead with logic, but they're a very heart-centered person, and so it feels like they've restrained themselves with communication with you in the past, and now there's a sense of almost like misunderstandings have happened, or they've left you with some sort of lack of clarity, something where it might almost feel, you might have almost felt you might have either pulled back your energy, or you might have confronted them about something, about like if they were just spinning a yarn with you, if they were telling lies, if they were being very evasive. Whatever happened, it didn't come out the wrong way, and they can tell your defenses are up, that they've like crossed a line with you in some sort of way. Again, maybe you called them out on this, or you've just changed your position with them. You're not chasing after them. Maybe you've taken a step back, or they can sense that like your guard is up, that something has been activated within you as far as your defenses are concerned. And there's a sense of like, I didn't mean for it to come out this way. And so this person may be in the process of trying to find a way to give you more clarity, give you more insight, as far as why they might have kind of been almost like using their words in a way that might have left you with a lot of confusion, and you might have had no other choice but to kind of question, are they trying to manipulate me? Are they trying to just play mind games? Because if that's the case, I'm not interested in something like that. And so it feels like they've gotten themselves entangled in a very sticky situation in this capacity, because this represents now facing their greatest fear, which is allowing their heart to dictate the terms of communication moving forward. There may be a lot of tension that you can feel between the two of you, especially if there's like silence from their end of the equation. If things didn't come out right, or if they were, kind of being cold or very aloof, or very almost misleading with their communication that may have influenced kind of now how you're approaching them. It's almost like the tension is so thick that it's uncomfortable for the two of you. You're both really sensing this. They understand the ball is in their court in order to set the record straight with you, or in some way bring you some peace of mind, put your fears to rest, things that they know that they have created in this situation. out of a sense of almost like, again, it's a sense of like, I really messed up. I didn't mean to make you feel that you needed to kind of be on guard with me. This is almost somebody who is now kind of forced to recognize, I'm allowing my fears in love, or fears of, the past repeating itself, being hurt in love. I've allowed that to create obstacles or to sabotage the momentum that we had built with one another in this connection. If this is already somebody that you've had some back and forth with, and maybe you've already gone through like an attempt to reconcile, an attempt to kind of let bygones be bygones, or kind of step into a better energy, they're recognizing that they have not done their part to uphold that end of like this contract between the two of you. And so they're seeing you now as somebody that you've been working on yourself. Your boundaries are in place for a reason. You are demonstrating to this person in this moment what it means to have like a healthy level of self-respect. They're seeing you as like somebody that models self-love in a way that carries with it very stern consequences. Like, you're not going to entertain nonsense. You're not going to let anyone disrupt your peace, even your twin flame. You're just not going to allow that at this stage in your life. And it's really given them pause to think. Sort of like they might have made promises to you, things will be different this time around, or let's try to work through this, or I'm invested in this. Let's like see this connection through beyond the difficulties of the past. And they're seeing that they let you down. They're almost feeling like they sold you on a false notion because they haven't been able to deliver consistently to you. They haven't been able to be clear with their communication. They're still being evasive. They're still holding things back. They're still operating out of a plane of fear. And they're seeing now that you're operating on the plane of love. You have no place in your life for people that bring those very like fearful or confusing energies towards you. And so there's a sense of they're feeling very much like, I need to kind of get out of my own way. I need to relax. I need to loosen up. I need to trust in this situation, or I'm going to miss this opportunity with this person. So let's take a look at some of the blocks, obstacles, challenges, and fears that they're dealing with right now. Okay, we have self-esteem and perseverance. Yeah, so there's a sense that they understand you're not waiting around for them any longer or for much longer. You've raised the bar and standard in your life in an overarching way as far as what you'll tolerate and what you won't. They may have noted that they're not the only person that you've like established boundaries with. You may have made changes in your life in terms of what you'll tolerate, what you're feeding your time and attention into, what you're inviting into your reality. And they're starting to realize, like, I've just cordoned myself off into this in the cold energy, and I have no one to blame but myself. So their self-esteem has like taken a hit based on the fact that you're no longer operating in the same energy that you were before, where you might have given them the benefit of the doubt. You might have given them a lot of grace or a lot of leeway. You gave them a lot of chances, or you were very tolerant. And then at a certain point, it was like, enough is enough. Like, you'd either been working on yourself, you raised your vibe, and it kind of just pushed out or repelled any of this kind of like fear-based paradigms that they brought to the table, that others brought to the table. There's also a sense here of that you, no matter what kind of the nature of the connection is between the two of you, how much you might have, broached the subject of like twin flames or soul connections, or whether it's, something where as far as they're concerned, or what you've discussed with one another, that it's like, yeah, we've got a strong bond, a unique bond, a lot of chemistry, maybe like a past life connection, something it's very unique from all others. They're seeing that is not just a free pass for them to treat you any sort of way. So they're challenged at this particular point in time to not sort of sit and dwell within this like pity party energy, because they're seeing you're not waiting around for them. You might have done that in the past, but it's like time has elapsed, like time has run out for that. And you're kind of giving this energy of like, I'm moving forward with my life with or without you. I'm not waiting around. I'm not looking in the rear view mirror. I'm not going to placate you anymore. Or this situation, like I've got better things to do with my time. I'd prefer solitude over being entangled in this kind of nonsense. And so there's a sense of, you've held a mirror up to them in a way that is, even if you gave them a piece of your mind, you did so graciously. You spoke truth to them. You maybe conveyed things that it was like a shock to them. It was like an awakening to them, almost like, I didn't expect you to call me out like that, or I've never had anyone kind of set a healthy boundary with me in this way. And so that might have kind of caused them to sort of, in a wounded way, pull back. Or even if all of this just took place energetically, if you didn't, give them a piece of your mind, you're just like, okay, I don't like how this feels, so I'm going to do me. I'm going to protect my energy. I'm going to redirect my thoughts and my focus elsewhere. And, I don't need this confusion in my life. That's been like a wake up call for them that now has made it very clear to them that they need to kind of get out of this energy of almost like withholding their truth from you if they expect to have a place of relevance in your life moving forward. So your message has hit home for your twin flame. Again, even if it was just something where you just changed your energy, you cut your communication off a little bit, you're not chasing them anymore. You're not kind of willing to ride this merry-go-round with them anymore. They're aware of that. And so now it's the sense of like, by the time I sort of change my tone, by the time I'm able to kind of speak this truth, not just as kind of like, they understand that it can't just be like an open declaration and then they go back to the way they were, but like an actual change needs to happen as far as how they're communicating, the words that they're speaking, ways in which they've weaponized silence, and how there's no place for that in a connection that they might want to thrive in the future with you. There's almost a sense of like fearing, by the time I get comfortable in that or am able to do that effectively or consistently, is this going to be something where you've raised the bar, you've changed the access code to your life and to your reality, and I might just find myself locked out of that forever. So let's take a look at their possible actions towards you. Okay, so we have inner grief. So it feels like your twin flame is now descending into some kind of dark night of the soul energy. They're in this incubation period, this hermit mode. This is kind of given the vibe that at least for the rest of the year, at least for 2025, this may be something where they're just going to be kind of suffering in silence. It's a necessary stage in order to have that breakthrough. It feels like you might have already gone through something like that yourself and you've come out the other side. So it's a situation where you're effectively leading this connection, energetically speaking, by prioritizing yourself, your self-care, your wellness, not allowing dissonant vibes, bad vibes, confusion into your life and into your reality. And this is kind of like giving your twin flame no choice, which feels like is necessary for them as a person. And as far as it relates to like your journey with one another, this is now their time to kind of go in, undergo some sort of personal transformation, maybe even see you move on with another person, or just kind of shut the door to this situation for a period of time. And that may be the motivation or incentive, kind of the light at the end of the tunnel that will see them through this period of finding a way beyond how they've been kind of like using their communication as a way to sort of hold on to power in this situation. Like it feels like their feelings for you are deep and very complex, and they've only scratched the surface of what that means. And that might have been something where you almost felt that this was a game of cat and mouse between the two of you, and you put your foot down, you said enough is enough. And so now they're kind of forced to sit with all those words that weren't spoken, all of those things that were, misconstrued, that came out wrong, that created misunderstandings, even the way in which their silence wounded you. All of that they're having to like sit with, haunted by those conversations, rereading those text messages, rereading those emails, thinking back on all the woulda, coulda, shouldas, scripting out the various ways in which they might come back around more consistently, more truthful, more open in their communication. Even if it's a matter of like, I'm afraid of what I'm feeling or where this is going, and we need to adjust the pace. It's almost like this is somebody who didn't express that to you. They could have talked to you about that, but they instead chose to just kind of shut off or push you away in some way. And it's almost this energy of like, be careful what you wish for, because now they're in this place where you've picked up, you've like picked your vibration up, you've stepped things up for yourself, and so they're forced to kind of like lay in the bed that they've made for themselves. So it feels like there may not be any kind of like sudden, revelations that they express to you, at least in the immediate future, because this is a necessary, almost like inner transformation, collapsing into that place of like, I missed out on something so good. I fumbled somebody that had good intentions for me, or, ways in which they might have been very overwhelmed or kind of not ready for the nature of your connection in the past. It's almost like this is the preparatory stage for them to get into that place that it's like, this isn't just a shoo-in. It's not just a guarantee that because there's a soul connection, you are guaranteed a place in this person's life materially, that it's almost like they're going to have to fight beyond these fears within themselves in order to rise to the occasion, to stand by your side as your divine masculine or as your divine feminine. So it feels like actions towards you will just be this process of like collapsing into themselves. That's a necessary rite of passage for them if there's something more that is supposed to happen between the two of you in this lifetime in the 3D realm. So let's get some guidance from Spirit about this situation. Okay, so we have Fox Spirit, think on your feet, and Seahorse Spirit, watch and wait. So this definitely encourages you not to dwell in the energies of like, okay, so they're going through a personal transformation, a dark night of the soul. Let me run in and be a rescuer. Let me hold space for this person, especially if you have like a deep empathic bond between the two of you. You may be able to kind of feel their energy drop off. You may be picking up these waves of like sorrow and regret, and it's very important for you to keep your head above water. Keep focusing on kind of the beautiful things that you have going on in your life. Don't take this person's emotions, and any way you're able to feel the echo of that in like the quantum sphere, don't allow that to derail you from where you are. You're effectively in the lead in this situation. You've got good things going on in your life where you're encouraged to start to look around and say like, where can I make some improvements? How can I create sunshine in my life for myself if I'm not getting it from this person? Or if there are areas of my life that I feel like a void space, what can I do to fill that with better things, better energy, better people? And then that gives your twin flame the time, almost in a dignified way, to go through this dark night of the soul. Like you've already done all that you can as far as being patient, as far as like, I'll do my shadow work and maybe that'll set an example for this person, or, I'll hold space for them while they're going through whatever they're going through. It's almost like time's up for that. You've done enough of that for this person. And so it's very important to not kind of, run towards them even energetically at the first sign of distress. They need to go through this rite of passage. They need to go through these growing pains in order to be able to truly rise into the version of themselves, if they're able to do that or choose to do that effectively in this lifetime, to be able to be like a counterpart for you, a balanced partner, not somebody that you have to do all the hand holding with, not somebody that they're doing 20% of the heavy lifting and the connection and you're stuck always doing that 80%. There needs to be more reciprocity and balance. And so this is the time where your twin flame is now tasked emotionally, spiritually, and maybe even things happening materially in their life that is causing them to go through this process of sort of like, okay, these are the strategies that didn't work for me. This is the attitude. This is the approach that didn't work. This is the fear that held me back from really beautiful things. Only they can free themselves from that. Only they can go through that process of metamorphosis. So you're doing right by yourself and by this connection to simply let that happen in an organic way. Trust, like invest all your trust into the belief, not just the notion, but the reality and the belief that If my twin flame is meant to ascend, meant to evolve, meant to continue forth with me along my personal path and journey moving forward, then they will do what is necessary to rise to the occasion, not to sell me on false hope, but to provide something that actions speak louder than words. True change is not just made in like a temporary sense, but that really involves kind of like truly turning over a new leaf or evolving and maturing beyond what they've been showing you up to this point in time. So let's get some message cards from their higher self and see what they want you to know. Okay, and they say you are very beautiful and you have no reason to be jealous of my past loves. So there's a sense that I'm hearing you're the cat's meow. This person like is really enamored by you. They're really enthralled by you. They may be very intimidated by you, and that can account for some of that fearful communication or kind of holding back in the past. And so there's a sense of they're now sitting in this energy of like, I created a self-fulfilling prophecy. I was afraid of getting hurt. I was afraid of my feelings. And so I pushed this person away. I withheld my love from them, and now I've lost them, or I've put myself at a distance unnecessarily. So they need to go through that process of like confronting those ghosts of the past and effectively exorcising them from the lens by which they are viewing the situation with you, or the prospect of like love and romance, and what that can look like in not as toxic or a damaging way as what they might have experienced before. They also say, I'm willing to put in more time and effort so the love between us can grow. So they're definitely thinking of you while they're kind of having this pity party, while they're sitting in this slump, while they're in the midst of this like dark night of the soul or shadow work, while you've kind of honored their inability to communicate maturely, communicate effectively. Anything where they've given you mixed signals, or there's been some kind of duplicity, or you've even just sort of felt something is off, and so you've changed your position with them. All of that has been noted by them. Anything you've directly stated as far as like, I need this from you, or we can't continue on like this, they've taken that to heart. So as they may be kind of like quiet, maybe some of them are putting on a front, like posting on social media, everything's great, I'm living my best life, couldn't be better. All of that's a facade. They're, behind closed doors at the end of the night when they're alone, there's like an emptiness within this person. And it's necessary for them to sit in this void, because it's out of that void space that true transformation is possible. They also say, my soul recognized yours the first moment I saw you and looked deep into your eyes. You are my heart's desire. So they definitely feel a lot more for you than they have let on. This may be somebody who's starting to look into the idea of like past lives and soulmates, maybe expanding their kind of spiritual knowledge, if this is something that wasn't already sort of part of their wheelhouse, part of their lexicon, part of their focus up to this point in time. You turn them on to the idea of that, and it feels like the more that they sit in this energy of the dark night of the soul, where they can't project onto you, they're not having to invest as much time in kind of this self-protective or hyper-vigilant or like fear-based energy, then there's no choice but to like sit within their own energy and to really feel into that on their own terms and according to their kind of timeline, to be able to decipher like, you were never trying to control them or manipulate them. You didn't present anything that would have necessitated this fear. And it's almost somebody that might kind of be in the process of, was I fearful that this person would hurt me, or was I fearful because they were offering me something, an experience in love that is unlike every hurtful thing I've known before? Was this like a fear of the unknown? And if they come to that conclusion, then it feels like this is someone who is capable of coming back towards you, not just with more empty promises, but with some kind of aspect of like freeing themselves from past hurts in order to be able to kind of soak up and participate fully with the experience that you have with one another in the here and now, that can lead to something very high vibrational and very beautiful if they're willing to put in that work on their end of the equation, just as you've been doing on yours. So let's get some initials. This could be a first, middle, or last name, or could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got W, M, Z, O, O, F, L, N, L, D, Y, H, V, D, I, E, and V. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 2. Chose the Smokey Quartz. So let's start by taking a look at what are your twin flames' thoughts and feelings about you and the connection right now. Okay, we have Lover, Intimacy, Zechel, Weaving, and Crone, Wisdom. So this is the energy of somebody who's feeling very comforted by your presence, even the ways in which you are standing by them, like silently in solidarity. So this person may be like working on some kind of goal right now, or going through a hardship in their life that either required them to take a step back from the connection in order to tend to certain things. And there's a sense of a lot of appreciation and gratitude for you giving them the time to like either tie up loose ends so that they are free to pursue this connection openly, or again, maybe like things that have come up in their life that have required their full focus, time, and effort elsewhere, and you've been very understanding about that. They're definitely feeling love that you send from afar, or if you make a point to even just kind of check in with them, send them like little reminders that you're thinking of them, and they may not have the time or the ability at this point to kind of communicate with you thoroughly or spend a lot of time with you, but they feel that it's very endearing, it's very heartwarming that you're not taking any kind of absence or even anything where they may be very distracted, very low energy at this particular point in time. You're not taking that personally. It's helping them to understand that you truly care about them as a person and not just them as a possession, not just them as like, oh, this is my boyfriend, this is my girlfriend, this is my person, this is my divine feminine, this is my divine masculine, but like you see them as an actual human being, that they're almost like their problems or your problems, but you're also not trying to run in and sort of give them unsolicited advice. You're not running in and trying to, distract them from what they have to do, or coming in and sort of second guessing the ways that they're creating solutions for themselves. And so there's a sense that they have a lot of respect for you in that sense. You're showing up as the ways in which a partner should, like the idea of, when people are exchanging wedding vows, and typically people say like in good times and bad, in sickness and health, this may be like a period of time where there's a lot of stress and pressure, and you're really holding it down for them. If they're, working a lot or they're going through a lot personally, it's almost like time that they spend with you, either in meditation energetically or in your communications. If you're, still in contact with one another and having interactions regularly, it's almost a sense of like your energy helps to kind of fill them up in a way that they feel empowered to do what they need to do in order to close out the cycle or chapter of their life that they're in, or it's almost like your belief in them is worth more than like a whole fan base, a whole group of advocates, gassing them up and encouraging them. It's almost like there's more authenticity in your support or your respect. Maybe you've even just been holding space for them to vent to you, to even kind of just get their mind off of their everyday and ordinary concerns, and that holds a lot of weight for them. It's very important for them. You're showing up as somebody that would make a very good long-term partner, because it's almost the energies of like they aren't the easiest to deal with at this time, or they know that they're not being very attentive at this time, or they feel bad about having to kind of burden you with any sort of stress or pressure, even if it's things that they're like keeping to themselves, that you can kind of just like feel into, or you can know based on what you're aware of in their circumstance, like, yeah, these are difficult times for you, or this is a challenging time for you. And the ways in which you're just sort of there for them actually and energetically, it's bringing them into the awareness of like, you're somebody who's actually good for me on all levels. You don't just fulfill like my desires, my fantasies, the checklist of qualities in a mundane sense that I'm looking for in a partner, but you're holding it down for me in the spiritual realm. You're holding it down for me emotionally. You're bringing me back to center. You're reminding me who I am, when what I have to do in the world, or what I'm experiencing and going through, is kind of setting me up to forget all of that, or to lose myself in that process. So they find you to be a very grounding, nurturing, and comforting and important person and force in their life at this time. Let's take a look at some of the blocks, obstacles, challenges, and fears that they're dealing with right now. Okay, we have balance and honesty. So there's a sense that they understand that you've been doing a lot in this connection, even just in terms of, trying to keep things light, trying to keep things, very positive, trying to kind of create good experiences for them, or good memories with them in the times that you're interacting with one another. And they see it as more than just you're a happy-go-lucky person, or you're like an uplifting sort of force in the world or force in their life. They recognize and acknowledge that you've been going the extra mile for them at this point in time, because you deeply care for them as a person. You're able to feel their pain. You're able to read between the lines, or put yourself in their shoes in a way. And there's a sense of, without them asking you to, you've really stepped up in a way that other people in their life didn't. Even if they have people that they can kind of vent to or confide in, it's almost like the way in which you respond to those, I'm hearing cries for help. So it may be something where you're very important for your twin flame, and like maintaining their sanity, maintaining their balance, maintaining their perspective at this particular point in time. The way in which you do that carries a very honest energy of like, I'm really concerned about your well-being, not like I'm just showing up as a good friend, or I'm the shoulder to lean upon, or you've done this for me before, so I'm going to reciprocate for you. It's almost a sense of like, even if they were never able to kind of be in this role for you, it wouldn't take away from the fact that you still feel compelled to kind of show up for them in this way. They see you as like a very authentic person. When you offer support, when you kind of lend your shoulder, or you energetically place yourself near to someone, that's real, that's true. And so there's a sense of, almost in the midst of whatever they have going on in their life, they're taking note of how you're operating as kind of their rock or their anchor at this particular point in time, where there may be a lot of uncertainty. And so there's almost kind of an impatience with this energy, sort of like, I want to show care and appreciation for you. I really want to show up for you. I really want to make you feel seen and make you understand that you matter, or that your support is invaluable to me at this particular point in time. But it's the fact that they're like in the midst of wrapping up a cycle, starting a new chapter. Maybe for some people, this is like somebody who's starting a new business, or they're altering their narrative arc in some sort of way, where a lot of their time, resources, effort, energy, attention is going towards beginning something new, no longer fighting the old, but like focusing on moving forward. And so there's a sense of them understanding on some level, like, I want to make you know that I appreciate your support and assistance with this, even in just kind of holding space or sending me loving thoughts or, being very patient with all of this. And so there's a sense of like, I want to get to the other side of whatever it is I'm going through so that I can shower you with affection, so that I can show you appreciation, so that I can convey to you in my own love language that what you've done for me and how you've shown up for me, it hasn't gone unnoticed. And so, this wouldn't exactly, the challenge is kind of maybe just the time. Like if they're in the midst of doing something, you can't speed up the time. You have to just kind of like see that through to completion. Or if they're wrapping up loose ends in their life, like there's a timetable, there's a process, there are requirements, there are requisites. If they're, finishing up school or maybe starting school, starting a new business, making any kind of big transition, it's almost like that will only unfold as quickly as it can. Like they can't move any faster than they are. There may be too many other moving parts involved, or it's just kind of a lengthy process in general. And so there's a sense of like in the midst of all of that, they're also very, very anxious to kind of like move into those calmer waters, be settled in like their new life, their new circumstance, a new cycle, because there's a sense of like, I want to shower you with affection. I want to show you that out of all the people that claim to be there for me through thick and thin, that, maybe have even been showing up in the ways that they can in this chapter or this experience or this phase of your twin flame's life, how you've been participating with them, even if you've kind of just taken a step back and you're letting them handle their business, all of that is something that they deeply appreciate, and they want to make you know that you're very exceptional. This is making them almost like choose you more than they felt before. Like, yeah, I choose to be with this person, or I want to be with this person. Whatever's happening right now, it's making them choose you even more. And so it's a sense of like wanting to speed up those hands of time, even though they can't, to get to the point of like, okay, now let's get down to the easy stuff. Now let's get to the romance. Now let's get to this appreciation. Now let's get to this place of, I've got more time for this circumstance. We're closer together. Obstacles have been removed. Anything that was kind of like a complication, it's all been smoothed out. Like they're anticipating getting to that place. And so it makes it very, very challenging at times for them to be fully present in their circumstance, because you're almost like a pleasant distraction or like a daydream towards the future of when there are no more sort of barriers between the two of you, or nothing that is like pulling them away as much as it is at this point from being able to just sit in that like yummy energy, that loving energy with you. Let's take a look at their possible actions towards you. Okay, we have dreamtime learning. Yeah, so this is the energy of somebody who's continuing to kind of shed a version of themselves, move through an old cycle, close out something, or just grow beyond their limitations or the past self. And this is almost something that they're trying to work their way through it as much as they can, because it's very obvious to them, like they've outgrown the container that they're in. They've outgrown the environment. They've outgrown certain relationships. They've outgrown a version of themselves, or even kind of a way in which they've been showing up in this connection at this point in time. It's almost like, I'm ready for something else. I'm ready for something more. So if you're in communication with them, you may start to notice that they start to talk more about the future, and not just in a sense of like my future, but our future plans. They're less kind of resistant to sort of thinking in the long term. There may be things that also happen behind the scenes that are like an action step towards you, where in their spare moments, in their free time, it's almost like they're saying a little prayer to that future version, or to your higher self, reaching out to you energetically, like, just hold on a little bit longer. I'm coming. I'm getting through this. We will get through this together. There's something more than what we're experiencing now. Something where it's almost just, if they're familiar with like law of attraction or, manifestation, this can indicate that, you're part of that dreamscape that they're trying to bring into a reality. They're including you in their future plans, whether they let you know that or not. It's almost like decisions that they make or ways in which they may be looking to kind of branch out from their current circumstances. It's with kind of the understanding of like, not just will this work for me, but will this work for us? Does this work with you? Would this align with something that you might like, that you might be interested, that you might want to move towards or develop or become or create? You may notice if you're in communication with them as well, that they start to ask a lot more, maybe even like deep questions or poignant questions. What are your dreams for the future? What are your hopes for the future? Where do you, what would you, almost like giving hypotheticals, like, what would you think of this? What would you think if I went there? What would you think if we went and did this? Would this be exciting to you? Would this be something that you're interested in? All of that an indicator of, even though there may be sort of restrictions between the two of you currently, or again, like a cycle they're closing out, or loose ends that they're tying up, or something that they're in the midst of kind of bringing forth or birthing in their life, that this isn't like their sole focus, that this is something that they're wanting to incorporate you in kind of that future potential. And so it feels like there'll be a lot more openness about that between the two of you in this period of time where they're kind of like at a standstill, or it's moving very slowly, like as quickly as it can, but slowly within their own sort of material circumstances. Let's get some guidance from Spirit about the situation. Okay, we have Elephant Spirit, learn from the past. And Rhino Spirit, overcome any obstacle. So this is all about the energy of maintaining a thick skin. Don't absorb any kind of feelings of, are they mad at me? Are they drifting away? Is the situation ever going to change? Because they may be in the midst of something that is a very slow process of transformation. Keep holding it down for this person as the anchor, as the rock. You're doing an excellent job to like do your part, to be that kind of partner that when the tables turn, you've now modeled to your twin flame and are modeling in real time what that means to truly be there for someone. Not just when times are great, but when times are off or when times are difficult. Feels that all of this is being noted by them, not in terms of like, okay, now I owe you, but I see how you are as a person. I see that when you have affection for someone, when you love someone, your loyalty, that is real, that is true, that is something that is closer to the range of unconditional than I might have experienced with many other people in my life, or certainly other romantic partners. And so it feels like whatever your natural or instinctual strategy has been to kind of like be there for them, but to also remain keep like a healthy level of detachment where you're not taking their moodiness personally. You're not taking like periods of time where they may drop off the radar personally. Like if this isn't going to resonate for people, or it doesn't necessarily apply to people where this is just kind of somebody who's in and out with their communication. But this is almost like if you know they're going through something, they're going through an ordeal, they're going through like a major change in their life. They're trying to kind of close out cycles in their reality that would open up new potentials that can signal like evolution between the two of you, the advancement of the connection, or things becoming more serious. If you like know for a fact that there are circumstances like that happening in their life, then this definitely applies to kind of just like continue to do you and show up for them, even just holding that love inside in any ways that doesn't feel like it's encroaching upon your own level of happiness, because it's registering to them, it's hitting home to them, it's very valuable to them, it's showing them and almost modeling for them like, I know what I want out of a connection because I know what I can deliver. You're delivering that solidarity at this point. You're holding it down in the way that almost like a best friend would. And so it feels like this is a necessary kind of time in your connection to build or strengthen or make your twin flame aware of like, you're a romantic partner who also brings this kind of element to the table, which it feels like is going to be very instrumental in when they've kind of closed out their cycle or they've moved beyond whatever sort of experience they're having that is sort of holding them back or they're trying to work through at this particular point in time. You're going to experience a very different face of them, somebody who's willing to like fight for this connection in a way that they haven't demonstrated before, even if that is just kind of more shows of affection, more sort of like we're taking rapid steps forward with one another. And all of that is the result of kind of like the trust that you have built between the two of you and that you are building between the two of you in this very moment. So let's get some message cards from their higher self and see what they want you to know. Okay, and they say the distance between us will not keep us apart. Yeah, so there's a confirmation that they are trying as fast as they can to tie up loose ends, close out cycles. For some people, get the finances together. So maybe this is somebody who has to move, who has to relocate, or is trying to upgrade their life in some sort of way to where their idea of success in the material world is more closely aligned to how they're living their life, which it feels like will open this person up to be more generous, not just materially, but almost like generous with their love, generous with their time and affection towards you, because they've been able to kind of satisfy that need for generosity within themselves, to themselves, first and foremost. They also say, I understand you perfectly. Let's not fight anymore. Can we call a truce? So this is definitely somebody that wants to increase the level of communication with you. They don't want to leave you in the dark. They don't want to make you feel left out in the cold. They don't want you to feel that like, oh, they're closing up cycles so they can move on elsewhere. You might be kind of feeling, especially with this idea of like elephant spirit and learn from the past. If you've been somebody that like you've held it down for people before who maybe used you as a stepping stone, went on to build their best life with someone else, there could be a degree of hesitation within you. Like, I'm not going to go through that again. I'm not going to be there for someone at their worst and darkest hour just to have them kind of discard me and upgrade to somebody else when things get better. Your twin flame may be aware of that on some sort of level, and they kind of sense that this might be a stretch for you to hold it down for somebody like this without a guarantee of kind of like, okay, we're pushing through together. You may be having to operate a lot on faith at this time. They're, again, maybe like they're very busy, or they're, your conversations are just kind of like short or limited when you do interact. And so there's a sense of like, please don't take this personally. I'm not just trying to use you. I'm not just trying to like take advantage of you. I'm not just trying to like have your light as kind of my guide to the point where, okay, now I've overcome some sort of hurdle and I'm moving off in another direction with someone else. They also say, I pushed you away because I felt smothered and unworthy of your love, kindness, and affection. So it feels like your twin flame, like they might have already started to do this, or they could almost maybe create some distance between the two of you due to overwhelm with whatever's happening. It could be very scary, whatever this kind of change or transition is. It could also be something that there's a lot of drama, there's a lot of chaos that's going on in the midst of whatever they're sort of involved with or fighting to achieve or accomplish or free themselves from, to where there's a sense of like, I don't want to burden you, I don't want to drag you down, I don't want to involve you in this mess. And so again, it's this idea of like, develop that thick skin, keep that thick skin. This is the time to have like faith and trust in the power of this connection, in the power of love, to see the two of you through to better days. So let's get some initials. This could be a first, middle, or last name, or could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got O, A, W, Q, X, R, C, O, R, Y, M, B, W, L, D, J, and P. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 3. You chose the Amethyst. So let's start by taking a look at what are your twin flames' thoughts and feelings about you and the connection right now. Okay, we have Priestess, Intuition, Butterfly, Transformation, and Lover, Intimacy. So with these energies, I'm hearing, I'm a new person. It feels like you have changed your twin flame for the better in the time that they have met you, even though there has been a struggle against their feelings or almost a sense of disbelief. Like they might have been in the energy of like, you're too good to be true. There's got to be a catch. Am I not seeing something? Are you just a mirage? Are you just an illusion? They have finally surrendered to the reality that, yes, you are everything that you present yourself to be. Yes, these feelings are real and worth exploring. Yes, it is safe for them to soften into this experience and to allow themselves to be carried beyond sort of everything that hurt them in love before, everything that made them kind of settle for less than they deserve or feel that who they really are is not worthy of being seen and celebrated. You're somebody that just, you strip off those masks from them without even trying. So any kind of vulnerability, any uncertainty, and I'm hearing cold feet that they may have had with you before where they had come towards you, there'd been sort of an increase in the energies between the two of you, or they were very like excited and kind of consistent or maybe even a bit overwhelming in the level of their communications, only to have that like dip off in some sort of way. They see that you've gone with the motion, you've gone with the flow of this situation. You've learned to do a very particular dance with one another that both honors who you are as individuals, where you're at in your lives, what your history and experiences are in like life and love. And there's a sense that like, even if it's taken some time to make, kind of seemingly unrelated parts of yourselves fit together in a way that there's harmony, that it works, or at least there's understanding and the ability to like hold space for your differences, that this signals like a more healthy connection, or the potential for a healthy connection as compared to anything that they've known before. You have helped your twin flame already, just in how you live your life, how you relate to them. A lot that's happening energetically between the two of you, and even like in the higher realms, in the dream space. This maybe somebody that like their psychic gifts and abilities are coming online. They're starting to pay attention more to their dreams, or the signs and synchronicities they see related to you, feeling your energy around them a lot, and they've transcended some kind of wall of fear. They've not smashed that down. They've climbed over it in some sort of way. They see you as somebody who is worth the effort. You're worth kind of coming beyond worldviews, coming beyond understandings of love, coming beyond that place of woundedness that might have made them afraid of love, or had caused them to kind of settle for less than they deserve. You've offered your hand to your twin flame, and you are helping, you're almost like holding their hand while they're like rising to a better version of themselves. They feel very safe in your energy, very safe to be themselves, very inspired by you, very inspired by this connection, very curious as well, to know more about you, more about kind of your thoughts on life, your thoughts on love. There's a sense that they lose themselves altogether in the best possible way when you're in the midst of like talking about things you're passionate about, when you're, expressing like the artistry that is your life. You're just living your life. You're just going through the motions of your ordinary reality. It's like time disappears for them and everything seems to make sense. And this may be something that at first made them very uncomfortable, made them feel very vulnerable. Almost like when I'm with this person, my guard just drops. When I'm with this person, I don't have to perform. When I'm with this person, I find myself expressing aspects of me that I keep hidden or that I didn't even know existed within. And so there's a sense that they're thinking about you a lot, even in between your interactions. It may be something that at times they're kind of like, am I obsessed with this person? Am I under some kind of spell? Because I seem to keep being drawn back to their awareness. It's like they've run the full range of possibilities as far as like pushing this connection away, succumbing to these energies, and now they're in this space of tranquility. Like it feels right with you. It feels comfortable to be with you. It feels comfortable, the idea of the unknown and what might happen in this relationship, who they might continue to become. It feels as well that they credit you, and maybe even like outwardly to people in their life at this point. It feels like their interpersonal relationships with other people have improved or have even become more authentic because of the way that how you are and who you are as a person, the energetic effect that you have upon them, or even what they are inspired to do when they're kind of like away from you, like in between your interactions. It's brought forth an energy of they're not just sort of settling within the life that they're living, but they're actively and proactively trying to improve what they can, what is worth improving, what is worth giving consideration to, and they've become emboldened, it feels like, to cut certain things out of their reality, either people, circumstances, belief systems, lifestyle choices that in some way inhibit the open expression between the two of you, or people that might like judge the connection, or kind of only really benefited from like a weaker, more fearful, or more kind of jaded version of your twin flame. It's almost like they've broken through that ceiling. They've evolved beyond that version of themselves, and they're no longer tolerating nonsense. They're no longer tolerating things that kind of lower their vibration, or things that undermine almost this wave that they are riding with you, that's not just like a temporary high or a dopamine hit from like your experiences with one another, but there's almost a sense of like you've helped your twin flame to kind of like tap into their soul's frequency, or to at least be open-minded about the idea of such things, or feeling into such things. So when it comes to you, it's almost like they feel very empowered to pull out all the stops and just being themselves truly, regardless of what anybody thinks of that. They may be in the midst of kind of retrofitting certain interpersonal relationships. This is almost somebody that may want to like bring you home to meet their family, introduce you to their friend circle in some sort of way. They're thinking about like, I want to make you more a part of my life. And so at this point in time, I'm looking around very honestly at people and circumstances and energies and kind of just things that I've been sort of entertaining in my reality. What out of all of that would be a detriment to our connection? They don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. This is somebody who won't tolerate people speaking ill of you. They won't tolerate people being mean to you. They won't tolerate people who are not openly and honestly supportive of this connection. So this may be something that they're setting some firm boundaries. They may even be having discussions with people like, no, I choose her, or I choose him. I choose this relationship. And so if you want to be part of my life, you're going to accept them. I choose them. So if you still want to be part of this equation, you better choose them too. So it feels like they become very emboldened to protect you, protect this connection, advocate for you, or even just kind of tell people that are important to them about you, about this situation. It may even be that they're kind of like breaking through the barriers of something that had been kind of just hidden just between the two of you. And this is a sense of like, I want people that are important to me to know all about you. I've been changed for the better, and I want these people to meet kind of the person that has positively influenced me in that capacity. I celebrate you, and I want others in my life to celebrate you as well. So let's take a look at some of the blocks, obstacles, challenges, and fears that they're dealing with right now. Okay, we have failure and blame. So with these energies, I'm hearing, I don't want to let you down. And so if there were people in their life that might have had an issue with this connection, or even just if they'd like not met you, but just how they know that these people are in general, that might have made you uncomfortable, or would just kind of not bring like positive influences into the situation. They maybe have like very jealous people, very envious people, toxic people, very damaged people, very broken people in their life. That could be like family members or people that they've had like long-term friendships with. This is something where they don't want to bring you in closer to their reality or make it more like publicly known that there's a connection between the two of you or a relationship between the two of you until something has kind of been firmly established, maybe even in drawing the line with certain people or standing up to certain people to sort of reestablish the power dynamic. Like, I might have let a lot of things slide because you're my family member. I might have tolerated a lot because we have this long-term history as friends, or, whatever that looks like. But there's a sense of almost like them preparing space within their life and the nature of like the network that they are involved with, like the people that they're involved with, so that it's a safe landing place for your connection with one another to blossom beyond what it is. There's a sense of like, I wouldn't be able to forgive myself if the company that I kept in some sort of way made you feel uncomfortable, made you feel like an outsider, made you feel unwelcome. I wouldn't be okay with that if that eventually like eroded the situation between the two of us. So this almost shows that they may have people in their life that are very protective of them, people that are very well-intentioned, and this can relate to like family members or really long-term friends that have like seen this person really be put through the ringer, maybe on multiple occasions by romantic partners. And so at this point, they're kind of like, to get to this person, you got to come through me. You got to come through all of us. You got to get a lot of people's approval before the green light is given and we sort of welcome you into the fold. So it feels like your twin flame is kind of acknowledging that even these very well-intentioned, kind of protector sort of energies, that there's a sense of trying to encourage these people to sort of ease up a little bit, because your twin flame doesn't want you to be put under the microscope or feel like you're being judged, or that you have to go through a series of like tasks or tests because somebody or people that your twin flame chose romantically in the past did them dirty, broke their heart, might have created a lot of wreckage within their life. And so there's a sense of them almost trying to kind of like calm some of these people down or acclimate them to the idea of you from afar while keeping you kind of insulated from all of that. It's very important to your twin flame that you're like greeted with curiosity and open arms, that because you are your twin flame's choice, that their people look at it that way. That this is not a circumstance of kind of like, I've naively just picked somebody up and brought them home. I settled for the first thing that came along, or I'm being manipulated by someone. Like, all of those things might have happened in the past, but it feels like this is a process of almost your twin flame stepping into their personal power by acknowledging that, giving appreciation for the people that are like fiercely protective and sort of like, I see that this is your love language. I appreciate what you're doing, but with this person, don't go there. That's unnecessary. Like, this is not like all those other people. This is not a circumstance where, you need to sort of feel that it's going to crash and burn, and then I'm going to have to like come back home or pick up the pieces of my life, or that my life will be changed maybe in permanent sort of ways, as it had with like previous partners, with karmic partners, with people that resonated with like a less evolved or a more naive version of myself. So this is almost like they're setting the stage for you to have a very soft landing into the next phase of their reality. So let's take a look at their potential actions towards you. Okay, and we've got preparation. Yeah, and with this I'm hearing you're getting ready to meet mom. So somebody wants to bring you home and like meet their mother, meet their father, meet their family, maybe even kind of like found family, people that you may have just sort of heard about in passing, or may have had like a quick sort of introduction with. If you've met any of these people at all, they're setting the stage for more of like an intimate gathering, more one-on-one time. They're talking you up behind the scenes to a lot of different people. This may be action towards you in terms of, you may have a lot of new sort of admirers on your social media. They may be sort of like sharing information about you, or talking about you a lot to the people that matter, in a sense of almost like, so that they get comfortable with the idea of, this is who I choose. This is the person that I feel connected to, that I have feelings for, or that I love. Like for some people, it's like they're telling these people like, I'm in love with her. I'm in love with him. They are the one, and that's non-negotiable. And so it's a process of almost like, maybe, and this is feeling kind of like an emotional energy. It's almost like having conversations with these people that like, you don't need to worry about me and my well-being anymore. You don't need to worry that maybe I'll always be alone, or that, love would only ever be a damaging thing. It's almost like they're letting these people know, like, you can release that hold upon me. You can release that kind of need to sort of fill in the blanks where maybe I've been unlucky in love, or romance has only been a damaging thing, because now I've encountered someone. Now I've connected with someone that shows me the opposite experience of everything that has been damaging. And so there's a sense of almost like wanting to kind of convey their gratitude at having like met you, the stars having aligned and they've met you, letting people that are important to them know as well, this isn't just a fling, this isn't just something casual, this isn't just something I'm walking into blindly, this feels real, this feels right, this person is so different from everything that I've ever known that they give me hope again, they make me believe in love again, they're bringing out a better version of myself. All of that being kind of preparation to not just kind of bring you home to meet the parents, or bring you around to meet the friends, but it's like, I want you to be part of this group. I want you to be part of my inner circle. I'm putting these people on notice that like, hey, this inner circle, we're adding another chair to the table. It's becoming a little bit wider. This is my choice, and so it needs to be your choice as well. This is who I choose, and I need you to accept that, or at least open your mind enough to where you allow yourself the opportunity to fall in love with this person, just as I have fallen in love with this person. So let's get some guidance from Spirit about the situation. Okay, we have Swan Spirit, time for a deep dive, and Eagle Spirit, Spirit has your back. So this Eagle Spirit, I'm hearing, keep your eye on the prize. So this is definitely a time to allow your twin flame to show up for you in a way that may feel almost very valiant. If you're meeting their friends and family, maybe soon, this time for a deep dive might be like a big invitation. They're inviting you home to the family dinner, they're inviting you home to the holidays, or they're inviting you over and all their family is there, or it's something that kind of like extends beyond how you've had contact with this person's like social network. There's a sense of like, allow them to show you off, allow them to, it's almost like they have a plan as far as this is concerned, not to sort of manipulate people or, use you as like a trophy or a showpiece, but it's almost like, recognize that you're the prize, that this connection is the prize, that this person is the prize, that this is a love which transcends everything both of you have known, and allow this person to kind of be the one to sort of give that invitation. Make those necessary preparations with certain people in their lives that may be very stubborn, may be very opinionated about things. Maybe it's even giving them time to sort of create better boundaries with people that they know are just negative, that they know would just have nothing but kind of like envy to pour into the situation. Give them time to sort of scoot those people out of the equation a little bit or altogether, so that when they bring you closer into the fold of their reality, it's in kind of the most soft and welcoming environment that is possible. So this is something where, you know, there's more to this situation. You're rising higher into this circumstance with your twin flame by giving them the opportunity to kind of let their guard down or soften their stance in some sort of way, not just internally within themselves, but in terms of like how they want to make you a part of their life in general. You know, the prize being, if you're resonating with the concept of a twin flame, you know, this divine union, not just in the higher realms, but in the material realms. It feels like you've achieved that, you've accomplished that very beautifully, you're maintaining that very beautifully in the higher realms. And that may be something that you have kind of taken the lead in up to this point in time. So it's appropriate to give your twin flame this opportunity to anchor that frequency down in the material world through this first step or this next step forward, which it feels like is involving you in more of the intimate moments of their lives. You know, maybe even people in there, because not everyone's gonna, you know, support everything that everybody's doing, but maybe even give this person some time to kind of like, okay, how do I introduce you to this difficult family member? How do I explain to you that, like, yeah, this person is kind of in a bad way, or they just sort of view life with the glass half empty. Don't take that personally. You know, ways in which they may need to work up the courage to sort of advocate for you in the face of such things. Trust in this situation that your twin flame's not just inviting you into kind of the next layer of their reality or closer into who they are to have you be like mocked, or to have you, you know, feel bad, or to be ostracized or judged or forced to kind of outperform past partners that, you know, did a number on them, or the circumstance ended in loss or heartbreak. You know, give your twin flame the opportunity to kind of work with their people as best as they can, in order to ensure that it's loving receptivity that kind of the next evolution of your connection experiences, and also to know that if there's any kind of battles to be fought in that sense, that you're on the same side in that capacity. They're not just going to like leave you there out in the deep end, or kind of make you feel like, well, why did I even sort of want to connect with this person in general if it's just entering into a situation of like non-support and drama. Like, give them the opportunity to kind of work with what they need to, the moving parts in their own life, so that it's a soft landing for whatever can blossom between the two of you moving forward. So let's get some message cards from their higher self and see what they want you to know. Okay, and they say, I'm willing to put in more time and effort so that the love between us can grow. Yeah, so there's that confirmation of they're wanting to invite you into their reality, invite you into their world even more. They may be planning something special. If they don't have like difficult relatives or difficult friends, if they've already talked you up enough, and everyone in their life, or most people in their life, are like, yeah, go for it. We want to meet her. We want to meet him. We think that you should do what you need to do in order to make this like a long-term commitment or a permanent commitment with this person. Give them the opportunity to kind of show you that, to dazzle you with what they're capable of bringing forth. It may even be that, like, if you're kind of nervous about things, you might be very surprised at how kind of warm and loving the people that are important to them are and will be towards you, what that experience will be like. That might even be, you know, a far cry from kind of what you grew up with, the types of people you've been accustomed to being around, or how you were treated by relatives and friends of like past connections. Give your twin flame the opportunity not just to demonstrate that the love they have to give is different and better than what you've known, but also the environment that they can provide or can bring you into is better than what you've known. They also say, I'm very attracted to you and I can feel the chemistry building between us. Yeah, so this is definitely somebody who wants to take things to the next level. They want to create more of an understanding between the two of you, more of a commitment between the two of you, more of kind of a declaration to people in their lives, like, yeah, I have someone. There's someone special. There is someone for me, and this is who this person is. So this is like someone who's setting the stage to allow others to get to know you more, and to allow your relationship with one another to be showcased as like a model of something very beautiful, very healthy, and very positive. They also say receiving a text message from you always brightens my day. So for some of you, you might be getting like an invitation very soon to like an event, a gathering. It might even be like, hey, my mom wants to meet you. My dad wants to meet you. Do you want to meet my family? Do you want to come here? Friends and family only, but I want you to be there as well. Something like that can definitely be on the works, on the horizon in the very near future for you. So let's get some initials. This could be a first, middle, or last name, or could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got T, U, C, F, W, F, X, G, Z, A, E, B, O, and L. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.